Breathe in and breathe out. Did you know that indoor air you breathe could be up to 5 times more polluted than outdoor air? Fresh Air Matters specializes in helping you create a healthy indoor environment by cleaning the air you breathe. They offer local plans and services that include air filter replacement plans, air duct cleaning, and many more. Go to freshairmatters.com, call or text 469-469-1852 to learn more about cleaning your indoor air. That's freshairmatters.com or 469-469-1852. Tell Steven you heard about Fresh Air Matters from the Back in the Day podcast to receive a special discount on air duct cleaning, air purifiers, and more. Again, tell them that you heard about it from Back in the Day podcast. Welcome back to another episode. On this episode, we have local Dallas comedian Dani Bee on the show. Dani and I talk about a lot of fun things. She's very goofy and a lot of fun, so you'll really see this on the episode. We talk about her start in comedy, her stories from back in the day, and of course, she has a one-woman show coming up this December 16th and 17th in Dallas, so we talk a lot about that. I want to make sure that you guys go out and check out her show December 16th and 17th in Dallas. I'll put a link in here so that you can find all the information for tickets and all that good stuff. Hope you guys enjoy the show.
Hey, are you talking about back in the day?
Nah, man. I'm talking about back in the day.
Back in the day. Back in the day. Back in the day. Back in the day.
Joining me today on the Back in the Day podcast is hilarious comedian Dani Bee. What's up, girl?
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
It's
thanks for
gonna be
coming
so much
on.
Fun.
We got your mugs here.
Yeah.
They say there's a B on it for Dani Bee and then kind. So be kind is what you're going for on that.
Be kind. Spread kindness around, not hatred and negativity. And be kind and bumblebee sting, but whatever. That could be kind of negative. But
Okay.
yeah, and my handle on Instagram is @comedian Dani Bee.
Oh, sweet. We're getting the plug in right away. I like it. Have you ever been mean?
Yes.
What's the meanest thing you think you've ever done?
Oh, gosh. I think the meanest thing I've ever done would had to be in school in 5th grade. I kind of had like a black market thing going on in the back of our history class. And you remember those desks that open up?
Oh, yeah.
We had just had the book fair and we bought a bunch of stuff and then we came back. And almost like the black market, we were like secretly trading under our desk, and we had pogs. You remember pogs?
I remember pogs.
Remember those?
Slammers, pogs.
Slammers, pogs. And so we had all this goody stuff. We had Lisa Frank. We had pretty much everything you could think of. So we were trading underneath our desks, and the teacher was like, Dani, what's going on back there? And I was like, well, Sabrina is trading stuff. I don't know what's going on.
Man.
And so I the whole snitches. I didn't care about stitches. I was just like, it wasn't me. And I mean, it was so bad. She didn't talk to me for the rest of the week, but then we made up. And I felt really bad. I think that was probably the meanest thing I've ever done, was just like out her.
Sold that girl out so quickly.
And then I took most of her stuff from her black because she went to the principal. And
Yeah,
I was like,
these are mine now.
Snitches get more stuff.
Oh, hell yeah. That's awesome. And
Yeah.
what did she get? Do you remember how much trouble she got in for that?
I think we all got in trouble because she ended up snitching on everybody. But I don't remember what we had to do. I think we had to like clean the trash cans out, and then we had to like wipe, because back then we had the chalkboards.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we found out that there was kids with asthma when you'd hit the erasers, so they got rid of those. But with the chalkboards, we had to go around at the end of the day and clean all the boards. I remember that.
Did you ever have the teacher that some teachers, so most teachers had like the normal eraser but then some teachers, like the badass teachers, would have this like mop looking thing. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where it looked like a big old mop, and they like put their hand in it, and they like, it was like, those were very intense teachers.
Yes.
Those are the teachers that you did not like want to cross.
No, because they were there for life. I'm pretty sure they slept there.
Oh, they're still there. I mean,
they are.
Yeah, they're not retiring.
No.
They're dying. They're probably still using a chalkboard. They're probably like, They're like, Miss Johnson, you can use the dry erase. We have new technology. No, give me my mop thing.
We have the projection slides if you want. No, I don't have a computer. I still have Windows 87.
Yeah, let's go play Oregon Trail. Come on.
Oh my gosh. Let's get on Doom. Let's play that Doom.
Oregon Trail was the best way to like kill time. If there was a day that they allowed you to do Oregon Trail,
yeah,
your day was made. Like that was the best teacher ever.
But it also taught you a lot about death. Like
it
got dark really quick.
Real quick.
I'd be like, my brothers would be playing. I'd come up behind them. I'm like, how'd you die?
Yeah.
Like a rattlesnake bite, dysentery. Like, oh my gosh.
Or famine, like people were starving to death. Yeah. You're like 3rd grade, like this is how you better save up your money, kids, because you can die if you don't have enough to eat.
We need to fill Billy. Yeah. Why didn't Billy eat? Oh, he's 5. He's only 5.
Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Plano, Texas.
Oh, nice.
So I've been in that area pretty much my whole life, but I've been fortunate enough to travel outside of the state and get around.
Did you go?
Terrible.
Which high school did you go to?
Not east, not west, just the best.
Oh, this like just Plano.
Just central. I don't know how to say that. That's how we said it growing up. So it
not
was just,
east, not west, just the best.
Yeah.
So did you go to Mama's Pizza a lot?
It's still there.
I know it is.
Yeah, it's so good. Did you? Where are you? Are you?
I grew up in Carrollton.
Okay.
So I went to Hebron.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. So like kind of like the border of my house was like the border of like Carrollton and Plano.
Okay.
So that area, and then but I lived in Plano for like 5 years, like right next to Mama's Pizza. So we hit up Mama's Pizza a lot.
When's the last time you had Mama's Pizza?
Oh man,
right now it's like G-Ma's Pizza. It's
is
like
it?
Grandma's pizza.
Oh, Mama's old getting. Well, I think we went like maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. But then I don't know if you remember this during the pandemic.
Yeah.
There was a rumor that someone put on Facebook that they were like going out of business.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. No, I had friends that are out of state. They were like, what's going on with Mama's? I was like, my mom? Who are you talking about? They're like, Danny, stop playing. Mama's Pizzas. Go over there. I'm like, I'm not going to go over there. And sure enough. Yeah.
So because we live in Prosper now.
Okay.
So, it's kind of a hike. Like we're like 35 minutes from Mama's. So like we drove that because we thought it was going out of business. So we went and got like 3 pizzas. And then they put out like a statement on Facebook. It's like, we're not going out of business. I don't know who said this.
Everyone should have done that during the pandemic. That would have been a really smart marketing campaign. So
I'll do it right now. The Back in the Day podcast is going out of business, so make sure you guys subscribe when you still get a chance,
And you can donate. Oh my gosh.
I don't know. Link. I don't have one, but if you just want to Venmo me, I'll just drop my Venmo down there.
I'll also drop my Venmo.
Just give us money.
No,
please.
But I want to tell you something embarrassing. So I was pregnant I had already had our daughter, and during the pandemic, I had the 2 kids in a very small apartment. My husband was working as a firefighter. So there were times where he would be gone for 48 hours, sometimes longer, because they were short-staffed as in the fire department. So he would be like, hey, I got a notification that you ordered Grubhub. I'm like, yeah. He goes, what'd you order? I'm like, don't worry about it. He'd be like, no, I want to know what you ordered. I'm like, why are you so obsessed with what I'm eating? Like, you're not even here. Focus on you. I love you.
Go save the city, right?
And I would like hide the trash, hide everything. He'd come home, he'd look in the trash, he'd be like, what'd you eat? And like, I ordered Studio Movie Girl because they couldn't show any movies. But I used to work there, like when I was younger. I was a food runner from like 16, 17 years old. And so I still keep in touch with Studio Movie Girl because they taught me a lot about life. And I had a hankering for some stuff, and people were like,
what did you get?
I can't, coconut shrimp, whatever. And then I got some French Cajun fries. They're amazing. And I got endless popcorn. Let's not talk about it.
Wait, how did the endless popcorn work at the Grubhub? They guy
come
just
by
keeps
every
coming?
hour,
just
Michael.
Keeps coming,
every hour. I'd be like, I'm running low.
Yeah, or they just give you bags. Just pop the shit yourself whenever you're ready.
And then just, here you go. No, but it was really cool because every time I ordered, I'd be like, I'd leave a note and say, thank you so much. I used to work there. Their produce was going to go bad. And so since they couldn't sell movies, they put it out on Facebook and everywhere. Hey, please order our food to keep us going. So I wanted to pay back for everything that they did for me when I was younger. And so I would order food And then in the food that you ordered, you got free movie tickets for when they open back up. So I ended up getting like 20 movie tickets. So I was treating him like the Godfather. I was like, here you go, man. Good to see you. Good to see you, man. Hey, you want some free movie tickets? Like I was some big hotshot. My brothers were like, where'd you get these free movie tickets? And my husband goes, like during Thanksgiving, he goes, she ate Studio Movie Grill during the pandemic. I'm like,
Non-stop.
it's not a big deal. And they're like, how many do you have? I was like, 20. It's not a big deal.
You had grow up tickets. Like at one point, I was obsessed with Kroger fuel points. Like it was like my life. Like
I'm sorry. Kroger fuel points?
You don't know about Kroger fuel points?
I go to Kroger all the time. What are Kroger fuel points?
You don't know about Kroger fuel points?
No,
okay, all right.
do tell.
So Kroger, if you go on every time that you shop at Kroger,
oh my gosh,
they're giving you points towards your gas to give you a discount on gas.
Do I have to be a member? Is
You
this
just
like
got to give your phone number. You don't do that?
I have a card.
Yeah, so you hand them the card and then they scan it. So if you spend $100,
Okay.
they're giving you on the weekends 200 fuel points. Okay, once you
That
get
equates to 2 gallons.
no. Once you get to 1,000 fuel points,
Okay.
you're getting $1 off every gallon that you spend on that trip.
Are you serious?
Right? So you have a 20-gallon tank. You're saving $20. Okay, so at one point I had, I don't know, maybe 20,000 fuel. My wife and I did not fill up without getting $1 off of our gas of a gallon for like 3 months. It was out of control. I was obsessed with it. It was like my dream was to how can I get more fuel points?
Yeah.
We'd go on vacation. And then here's another thing. They have times where their gift cards, you get 4 times the amount of fuel points. Okay? So we went to Disneyland. So you can buy gift cards.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Continue.
You can buy gift cards for Disney at Kroger, right?
Okay.
So, and then you can also buy Southwest Airlines gift cards there too. So, go to Disney. You get the 4-time fuel points for the Disney cards, 4 times fuel points for the Southwest Airlines. You use those gift cards to purchase your stuff for the trip, right? But on top of that, you use your credit card that you get points on to purchase the gift card that you're also getting points on. And my fuel points were out of control. So
this
you're
is like a TikTok. You need to put this on TikTok because that girl that does how to get hacks for Disney trip and Kroger fuel points.
Absolutely, that's me.
Yeah,
and then on top of it, I was like, "What do we spend a month on Chick-fil-A?" Do you know? Because my wife's an accountant, so she has everything spread out of it. It's like, how much do we spend a month on Chick-fil-A? I was like, why don't we just buy a $200 gift card Chick-fil-A from Kroger and get more fuel points? Like I was obsessed with it for a while. Not so much anymore, but it was
that's awesome.
It was
so how do you get your receipt and then they put it on your card?
You put it on your card, so when you go buy gas from Kroger, you put in your number that's attached to your to your fuel points, like your phone number. It's attached to your phone number.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And then you attach that in there, and it says you have this many fuel points. It says, do you want to use all of them on this trip? And you say, absolutely, I do. And you get $1 off. Or sometimes you get 20 cents off. Sometimes you get 30 cents. Just depends on how many fuel points you have.
Now I have a new obsession.
It
used to be Albertsons Monopoly board, and then it was McDonald's Monopoly board, and then I never won anything. Now it's going to be Kroger fuel points.
Well, you can trade people your Studio Movie Grill for your fuel points. And then you can buy Studio Movie Grill gift cards at Kroger. And it's just
think of all the coconut shrimp I can eat.
It's going to be amazing.
I'm so excited.
So you grew up in Plano.
Yes, sir.
Are you is like your family originally from Plano, that like DFW area?
Yeah. So my dad's originally from Ecuador. He was born in Ecuador. A lot of people don't know that about me because the way I look and the way my dad looks. So Ecuadorians are predominantly very fair, light skin. They look white, and then they start speaking Spanish, and then everyone's like, oh my gosh, where did that come from? So my dad speaks fluent Spanish, and most of my aunts and uncles speak Spanish. Some of my cousins.
Spanish?
I need to practice a lot more, but I do speak a little Spanish. Enough to understand when someone's insulting me, which is always fun. But I recently had someone ask me if I wanted to go on Telemundo to promote my one-woman show. And I was like, I didn't want to pull a Selena, when she's like, muy,
yeah, she didn't know anything.
Excited. I feel like I would do that. And I don't want to be disrespectful to the community and say I speak fluent Spanish when I don't. So I can pretty much read and write in Spanish, and I understand it very well. I just need to practice more. But my mom's from Lake Charles, Louisiana.
No, shut up. So is my mom.
Oh my gosh, is your mom still with us?
Yeah, she's still alive. She's living. Where at high school did your mom go to in Lake Charles?
I don't know.
You don't know? You never went back?
Well, I've gone to Louisiana. I just went for a different reason. And
so you haven't been to Lake Charles before?
No, and I wish my mom would take me. So she, not bad times in Lake Charles. Just she was I don't want to say army brat because I don't like that term brat, but she traveled a lot with her family. So my mom's parents were in their 40s when they had kids, so they were much older. So they moved around a lot. But she ended up spending most of her teenage life in Fort Worth.
Gotcha.
So she was in Lake Charles, born there, and then she moved here to Texas, and then she was in Colorado, and then she's kind of all over the place.
Gotcha.
But so your mom's from
My
Lake
mom
Charles.
is from Lake Charles, yeah. So
Well, give me some things that I want to go really bad. Give me some pointers.
There's not
See,
really much to do there.
That's
but
what my mom says.
there's not much to do
so-
there. I just have that's like where we went. That my dad's from Iran, so we didn't do anything
okay.
with my dad's side of the family growing up. So everything that we did, like extended family, was in Lake Charles because my grandma lived there, my aunts and uncles lived there, my cousins lived there.
Yeah.
So I think of Lake Charles of just like family stuff.
Okay.
They had a hockey team at one time called the Lake Charles Ice Pirates. That was pretty cool.
That's actually really cool.
Trying to think what else. There was a really cool kids museum that we would go to every now and then. That was fun. A lot of casinos now.
Yeah.
Now they have like Vegas style casinos there.
Okay.
Like big, nice, like really nice resorts. When I was growing up and going there, they had them on like boats because
Yeah, I remember seeing a boat.
yeah, they had like boat casinos because in Louisiana they can have casinos as long as they're on the water.
Okay.
I don't know why.
I mean, yeah.
like why that matters.
Yeah, because they're pirates. That's why.
Exactly. Because they're the ice
Why
pirates.
They're
you know?
ice pirates. They're like, "Arr, we gotta be on this casino." But...
Okay, so grew up in Plano.
Mm-hmm.
What were you like in high school? What stuff were you into?
Yeah, so I kind of took a left turn in high school where I did the unspeakable in high school. And now looking at it, I'm like, it's not that big a deal. But then everyone made such a big deal out of it. I got into journalism and photography. So I played soccer in high school. And then I was good, but I wasn't great. Like, I wasn't as great as the team, so I noticed that I was getting benched a lot, and it kind of took the joy and the fun out of it. And I played select soccer, and I played all the time, so it's just, I don't know if it was a problem with the coach or me, or I didn't know, so I didn't feel like it was bringing me joy, so I decided to take myself out of it, and I played select volleyball, and so I was just heavily involved in sports. And then I decided to do newspaper. And that just kind of, like, everyone was like, why are you writing for the newspaper? And then I would go interview the jocks, and they'd be like, hey, Dani, you coming to my party on Friday? I'm like, that's not what this is about.
Yeah.
I'm actually here to interview you. So how about that basketball game? So you scored the last 3 points. What did that feel like? And they were like, what do you do? Are you pranking me? Is this a joke? I'm like, no, I signed up for newspaper. And everyone was like, dude, Dani's doing newspaper. And it was like, and then the class, like the students I was with, some of the funniest, coolest, hardworking students, like we got to like see how to make a paper. My editor, I think her name was Mrs. Johnson. She was awesome, very strict, very direct. She taught me a lot about character and how to like be more assertive and not so shy. I had some really big ideas for the newspaper. I got to interview Dirk Nowitzki.
Really?
Yeah, I won a UIL competition in creative writing at my school.
So what did you interview Dirk about? Do you remember?
Yeah. So we had the German language speaking class go with us. The UIL writing competition went. And then I ended up winning the UIL competition. So we all went to the Mavs game as like the high school and the journalism teams. Then we got a chance to interview him after the game, and I got to ask him like 5 questions.
What year was this? Do you remember?
I want to say 2004.
Okay.
Maybe 2004. And he was engaged to his now wife, and she's a teacher. And she was there. And I remember being like, oh my God, he's so beautiful. And he was so tall. Like, my teacher got on a ladder and she stood next to him for a picture up on the ladder. Like, that's how tall. Like, she's so short.
Yeah, he's 7 foot.
He's a big guy.
He's a big
and
old
he's
boy.
so nice. Like, I just remember him being so sweet and kind, and he was so patient with everyone, and he answered all of our questions. So after everyone in school kind of made fun of me for doing journalism, and then the next week, my story made front page. It's so funny. My dad has it in his office. He's like, it's Dani, she wrote for the school newspaper, and that's her front page. She made it the front page. I don't know if you guys know Dani's a writer. And I'm like, stop. Dad, that was high school. It's not a big deal. But it's a picture of me and Dirk Nowitzki on the front page.
Do you remember what you asked him?
Yeah, I think I asked him, how did you get into basketball? Is this your passion? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? And then, what's it like living here playing basketball? And I just remember him being so humbled about everything. And he was like, I love basketball. This is my passion. This is my life. Maybe one day I'll coach. It was really cool to hear his aspirations, even though he's like, hey, look, we made it. He still had goals and dreams, and to see that, and I was so young, and he was so nice. It wasn't like, just the way he spoke to me, the men in my life, and how they talked to me, and the respect that I got from this tall beast of a giant was really cool. The rapport that he made with all the students was great.
One of the most common reasons for poor indoor air quality and HVAC malfunction is restricted airflow and poor air circulation caused by the failure to replace the air filters. When was the last time you replaced your air filters? Do you own rental property? Are you tired of climbing into your attic to replace your air filters? With Fresh Air Matters air filter replacement plans, you won't have to worry about replacing your air filters again. They provide the filters, they replace them for you, and they clean your return vents on the same day, same time, every 30 to 90 days. Go to freshairmatters.com or contact Steven at 469-469-1852 to schedule your air filter replacements plan or any other local IAQ services. Well, he just got inducted to the Hall of Fame a few months ago, right?
Maybe I should send him.
Yeah, I sent it to him like, hey, remember this one? You want to be a coach still, bud?
You know,
he just got inducted to the Hall of Fame, and so there was like these different stories that were coming out about him. And one story that I had never heard was the summer that he first was in Dallas. He's so humble and everything like that. He was showing up to all the practices like extremely sweaty. And everyone was like, why are you so sweaty and stuff? Yeah. And he didn't have air conditioning in his car. So he's making $1 million. Okay. And he's driving this old car that doesn't have AC in it. They're like, dude, this is Texas. You're going to have to get AC in your car.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
And it's that's a
humbling.
That's a Dirk story. Because I remember, he's in the league now for 12, 13. This is after they won the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
He's won the MVP. He's, 12-time All-Star. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And he's showing up to the games with a home-cooked meal that his wife, with a doggy bag that his wife sends with him when they have every catered food that you can imagine. It's he's a cool guy.
He's really nice. He's really sweet.
Yeah. I'm glad you're the second person on this podcast that has a Dirk story.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, Paul Varghese performed at his birthday party.
Of course he did. That's awesome. I did not know that.
I don't know how
cool.
that came about. I guess somehow they had met something, Dirk had seen him at a show.
Yeah.
And then Paul, got his number somehow or whatever. And
or
then
Dirk posted on Gig Salad and Paul
100%. It's we need something for his birthday party.
And I missed, I wasn't awake at 3 a.m., so I missed the email.
No.
Sorry, Dirk.
I would have been
remember
there.
that one time I want to interview you again. We're due for another
Where do we
interview.
see you in 5 years now, Dirk? And
sorry I couldn't make the show, Paul.
So his wife texted Paul and asked him to come perform at his party, and Dirk didn't know. It was a surprise. And
that's awesome.
He talks about there's all a Nobel Peace Prize winner there, and all these really. And then Paul is people were looking around why are you here? Who is this guy?
No, he's got a lot of what do you call that, accolades? So he's
but he's you walk around and none of these people know who I am, and he's all the Dirk and all these big guys.
Is that George Bush?
Yeah, it's like, why am I here right now?
Yeah.
So okay, so you write journalism. Is that something that you wanted to like pursue, or?
Yeah, I was Collin County Community College. I did communications, journalism, and photography. And fun fact about that, it's not that fun. It's gonna get morbid right now. My class was the last class to do film photography, so I learned how to develop my own film in the darkroom, which I want in the future to have a darkroom when we can afford another house and like afford, cereal. But so my graduating class was the last class to do film photography because the chemicals were on an FBI red list. And after 9/11, there are a bunch of chemicals that they found that were made in homemade bombs and explosives. So there was a FBI wanted list. So every time schools would order the chemicals that we use for the photography, they'd flag it. And then they'd like get interviewed, and it was 10 times more expensive to get these chemicals. So Collin County, sent out a letter to all the students. It was like, this will be the last year. So I was the last group of students to get to develop in the darkroom. And now they've changed it into probably AI or graphic design.
Or digital.
All the robots in there like, get out of here. I don't know how they sound. That was terrible impression.
That's a good robot.
That was Gladys. That was the first Gladys robot. But so I really enjoyed doing that. And then I did journalism and, again, creative writing, and I did psychology, and I did communications, and a lot of major, like a lot of studying.
Well,
I didn't know what I wanted to do.
So you were just taking everything.
Yeah, because at the time I was working in nursing homes.
Okay.
So I was an activities assistant, and then I became a marketing director, and then I became a social worker. And so they were kind of passing me around everywhere, and I learned a lot in different departments. And I said, I was working as an assistant for the director of nurses, and I said, I think I want to be a nurse. He goes, he was from, oh God, where was he from? I'm from Kenya, and he had such a great, beautiful accent. He goes, Dani, if you want to be a nurse, you can be a nurse. And I said, I'm not good at chemistry. He goes, you can do this. I was like, he goes, Dani, if you put your mind to something, you can do it. And I was like, I don't think I got that. He goes, we all believe in you. Go. And so I went and I took 101, chemistry. And I was like, is anybody getting this? Like, what are you
everyone's
guys?
Just crushing it.
And they're all like making A's. And I was like, I'm not understanding this. And I oh gosh, everyone tried to help me. The teacher was trying to tutor me. Everybody was tutoring me. We'd all meet in the library. We'd do study breaks. And then it's just just subtracting neurons and electrons and chemistry and ions and boron and magnesium and just memorizing everything. I'm just having PTSD right now.
God, it sounds terrible.
So I made a D in the class, and if you can't do chemistry, which is probably a good sign, there's no, like, if I can't, what is it, like, measuring
table.
cc's, like, I could kill someone if, like, with their weight ratio and, like, I don't need to be around, like, measuring, like, fractions or anything. Like, I don't need to units and measurement. No, I don't need to do that.
One time we took our kid to, like, one of those, like, after-hour pediatricians,
I thought you were going to say chemistry camp. I was like, where are we going with this?
Like, after hours, like, the measuring thing that you're talking about. Like, and they were trying to figure out, like, a shot for my, like, to give my kid a shot.
Yeah.
And the doctor pulled out the back of a Kleenex box and started doing math just to figure out, like, how much of medicine of the shot they could give them.
Yeah.
And I was watching him do it, and it was just division, and it was wrong. The division that he did was wrong. Like, I was like, yeah, no, we're not gonna do the shot. We're not gonna do this. Like,
you're like, I'm not feeling good about this right now.
Thank you. We'll see her pediatrician on Monday when they open back up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Was it a back alleyway? Where were you?
Somewhere in Plano. Okay. And, like, and it was like the only place that was open on a Sunday.
You know what? We'll be better.
We'll just do something. And I mean, literally, he pulled out the Kleenex box, flipped it over, started doing long division on it, and I could look over his shoulder, and he was like kind of doing this thing, and then I was like that, and then he said that, he's like, yeah. I was like, And I looked at it, I was like, well, I did it in my head real quick. I was like, that's not right. I didn't say that out loud. I'm not gonna put this old man in his place, or whatever. But I was like, no, we're good. We'll skip the shot. Thank you, though.
Yeah. I know. I understand. And you always listen to your gut when it comes to your kids, because there have been times where I'm like, no, I think we're okay. We're just going to go. Yeah, we're good. Just get a sticker and let's go.
We're good on that. We're not going to do it on Kleenex math box, man. Is not going to.
Nothing else.
No.
No napkins, no nothing.
Absolutely.
But I enjoyed, working in nursing homes and then going off to college, because through taking all these different courses, I just learned a lot about, all the professors there. And I hate to sound like terrible cliche or dumb, but they were so good. Like, I had the best professors there, and they were just, the way they sat on the desk and they were just shooting the shit with us, and they'd be like, listen, I know you guys are all here for a reason. Maybe you can't afford college. Maybe you don't know what you want to do in life. This is the place to figure out what you want to do. And if I can help you get there, I'm going to try really hard. And there was nothing funny about it. It was just people all together just like, what the fuck are we going to do with our lives? Because I just noticed that people were going off to school and they were getting, full rides to play soccer or basketball. And they pretty much had they knew what they wanted to do, like an engineering degree. And I was just like, I don't know. Yeah. And I felt lost. This is probably the most lost I ever felt. And I was living at home with my parents, which was awesome. They're like my best friends. My husband's always like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going to go run some errands. He goes, you going over to your parents' house? Or, I was like, I got to see my dad. I got to see my mom. And then I'll go in and Jim will text me and he'll be like, it's been 2 hours. I'm like, yeah, I got to go to the grocery store. And he's like, okay, are you still at your parents? I'm like, no. He goes, your mom just told me you're here. She asked me to come over for dinner. I'm like, I'm sorry, okay? They're going to die one day. And I want to make sure that I get as much time with them as I possibly can before they leave.
And daughters definitely spend more time with their parents than sons do.
This is very true.
Do you have any siblings?
I have 2 older brothers.
And how much more do you hang out with your parents than your brothers? And your brothers probably love your parents. They probably have no problem with your parents. But if compared to you, they are your like a superstar. They're your Taylor Swift. And to your brother, they're like, yeah, I listened to a couple of her songs.
Well, to be fair, so in college, when I was getting into photography, I worked at the mall at a photography studio. And that's where I really learned a lot about photography. And so they liked my face, and they were trying to update their wall of all their models, and they couldn't get any for some reason. And I was like, well, it's a mall. So, and then my boss said, Dani, you're pretty. And I was like, am I? Am I? This is when I had really pretty long flowing hair, and I was much skinnier than I am now. And so I don't know why I just said that. So I'm a pretty woman. So my boss was like, sit on the stool. Let's do your hair. Put your pea coat on. I got it from the Gap. It's not a big deal.
No big deal, guys.
Hood.
Gap money.
Yeah, Gap money.
Yeah, that's that Plano Gap money, y'all.
That's that paycheck. I don't know why I did that. So my hair is blown in the wind, and it was I had my hood, and I was like fall, like a, I don't know, a magazine cover or something. My boss was like, I don't think we got anything tonight. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. No, I'm not a model. I didn't have any makeup on. It's not a big deal. I understand. The next week I come into work. There is a 40 by 64 framed mounted photo of my face with my pea coat. And it's huge, okay? It's in the front window display. And I walk in and I'm like, oh, and my parents come to visit me, and my mom's like, oh my gosh, I have to have that. So when I left, which was 2 years later, I left, and my boss, she ended up gifting it to my mom and dad. And then my mom and dad put it on the mantle, on the piano.
Yeah, they did. Of course they did.
And then what I did was for Christmas, because I was like, oh, this is such great revenge. I did a 4x6 of Peter, my brother, and a 4x6 of Merle, and I put it on the other side. So it's Merle and Peter, and then there's me, which
With
is
a
like
like
clearly I'm the favorite.
like a fathead like poster.
Yeah,
like you
it's
know, like
huge. I'm not kidding. It's huge. And so every time my brothers come over, they're like,
it's still there.
yeah, I told them to get rid of it because it's so obnoxious. It's so obnoxious. And every time people come to the house, they're like, Danny, I didn't know you were a model. And I'm like, yeah, back in the day.
Yeah, no big deal.
At the mall. It's not a big deal. But no, my brothers, they're always like, when are you going to take that down? Like, you can tell that it still bothers them.
Oh, it bothers them for sure.
But getting back to your question, when my brother worked, he was out of college, you know, when you move back home and whatever. I went off to Texas State. My brother graduated from UNT, came home to live with mom and dad for a while and then move out. But when he was home, I came home to visit the family. My brother and his wife and kids came over to visit. And I kid you not, we have this island in the kitchen, and we all, like, get around the island, we all snack and eat. And, like, just hearing my brother say this, he was, like, opening and slamming the fridge, and, like, opening the freezer. And we were like, what are you doing? Like, what? Are you okay? And he just, like, was so serious. He was so mad. He goes, Mom, where are my pizza rolls? I put it on the list. And she goes, I must have forgot. I'm so sorry. He goes, oh, those are my pizza rolls. Did you get my Hot Pockets? And he's like a grown, like...
He's like living there, right?
Like living there.
Yeah.
And me and my brother are laughing so hard. We have like food and drink coming out of our nose. And we're like, are you seriously mad right now? Why don't you have a car? You have a job. Go get your pizza rolls. He goes, no. God, you guys leave me alone. Like, where are my pizza rolls? Like, so every time we're together for Thanksgiving... We, you know, like when you go, Ma, where's the French toast? Where's the meatloaf?
Yeah.
We say, where are the pizza rolls? Like, we're always like saying pizza rolls. And he's just like, shut up. So, yeah, I'm really close with my brothers. They're great. And we have a very funny relationship growing up. So they think it's weird that I do comedy.
Why do they think it's weird? They think they're funnier?
Yeah, but until they saw me perform, I didn't know that the managers were going to seat them in the front. So there were a couple times where, you know, when you look for family members or your wife or a friend and you're thinking, oh, they're going to be on the right or the back. I look down and I'm telling this joke and I'm like just staring at my brother's eyes and they're like, oh my God, what happened? Were you not loved? Did we do something to just... I'm so sorry. Did we not hug you enough? Like, you could tell they were so, like, bothered by having their little sister up there. And then now they're very supportive. Like, they're getting more comfortable, but they haven't been to a show since I roasted them.
Oh, you roasted them?
Yeah.
What did you say to them? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Was it a pizza roll story? That's what I would have done.
It wasn't a pizza roll story. I think it was just... used to be... they would do stuff to me when I was in the bathroom.
Oh.
Like, I became a private bathroom goer.
I think you need to tell, like, go into detail because right now it's just very uncomfortable. Like,
it's okay. This is a safe space. We're in a basement. This is a safe space. But there were times where I would go to the bathroom and we would always be like, I need to use the restroom, excuse me. And so my mom, you know, taught us manners. So I'd be like, excuse me, I need to use the restroom. So I'd pause Mario or Mortal Kombat. And then I'd hand the controller to Peter or Merle. And I'd be like, you know, here, take the controller. And so we'd always play video.
What is your other brother's name?
Merle.
Merle?
Mm-hmm.
Spell it?
Murrell.
How'd y'all get from Danny, Peter to, like, Merle?
So my name's Danielle, and Peter is just
Peter. Yeah.
And then Merle is just Merle. And he's actually named after my dad's dad.
Gotcha.
And then I was supposed to be a boy. That didn't happen, so I was a girl. And then I was supposed to be Daniel. I was supposed to be named after my mom's dad. And then when I came out, they were like, you have a girl. And then everyone was like, what? And then there was like, Danielle. So I became Danielle. Not like I wasn't a boy that turned into a girl. It was just they thought I was a boy and then I was a girl.
Whether you suffer from allergy symptoms like sneezing, coughing, itchy eyes and throat, runny nose, asthma, more severe respiratory issues, or even cancer, poor indoor air quality has been directly linked to your overall health. Take control of the air you breathe today. Contact Steven of Fresh Air Matters for more. Fresh Air Matters has everything you need to clean the indoor air before you breathe. Go to freshairmatters.com/air purifiers and use my promo code PASVAR, that's PASVAR, at checkout to receive a special discount on all air purification products. Go to freshairmatters.com or call or text at 469-469-1852. That's freshairmatters.com or call or text at 469-469-1852.
That got weird.
I always think it's funny, like with like names of siblings, where it's like my wife has 3 brothers.
Okay.
And my wife's Hispanic, and 2 of her brothers have like real Hispanic names.
Yeah.
Like real Hispanic names.
Yeah.
And then her one of her brothers has like the whitest like country bumpkin names. Like you ever like it's not when
Merle.
like Merle. I was like it's like here's Danny, Peter, and Merle. Like
Yeah.
right, like it doesn't.
Well, to be fair, they call me Daniela, and then they call Peter Pedro. So there are people in our family that say Pedro or Daniela or Dani, and then Merle is not Morella. It's just Merle.
Yeah.
Like no one can
It's just
put
like a noise.
little.
It's just a
Yeah.
noise.
It's just like, and it was funny growing up. It'd be like Merle.
Is he Hot Pockets pizza rolls?
No, that's Peter. Merle is Texas double cheeseburger, meat and cheese only, and ketchup.
Oh, yeah, there you go. That's
Sorry,
that's a very
I
Merle.
memorize everyone's orders.
That's a very
like,
Merle
growing up.
order. If I had to guess, like
Yeah.
it would be a very like little
And then
kids.
Cece's Pizza. Obsessed with Cece's Pizza. Papa John's.
I'm so hungry right now that
Sorry.
you're.
Like my brothers eat so much food, and I do too. Like we will put food away. My mom will order every Christmas. We'll order a chicken nugget platter from Chick-fil-A.
Mm-hmm.
As like an appetizer for us, because both my brothers will whine. They're like, "Hey, Mom, when's the food ready?" And she'll be like, "It's not ready for 2 hours. Can you just eat a roll?" He goes, "I had like 5." And Peter will come in and be like, "Can you make some like pizza rolls or something? Can you make the pizza rolls?" And Merle's like, "Again with the pizza rolls? What are you, 5? Eat something else." And so my mom started ordering Chick-fil-A. Like she'll just order thing of nugget, like a tower of nuggets. And my brothers will be like, "Mom, this is so good." And then dinner will be served, and somehow they make room, and they just, and we'll have chicken fried rice, most random thing. We always have fried rice and lumpias. We love lumpias.
What are lumpias?
That's a Filipino dish. It's we love lumpia. So it's very simple, but it's absolutely delicious. They're like beef rolled up in these like flat, almost like a pastry puff, but they're flat, and then you deep fry them in oil, and then you make sure they're like really crispy, and then you serve them with like a sweet and sour sauce. They're delicious. I'll make you guys some for your next gathering if you're home for Thanksgiving, because we make like, I was like, "Mom, why can't you make like empanadas or like tamales?" And she's like, "No, I'll make lumpias." And so she'll just make like 200 lumpias, and me and my dad will just sit, and it's like we just roll lumpias like all night, and then she'll make them in the morning.
Is your mom like okay? So she lived in Lake Charles, but is she Cajun? So does she make Cajun food?
She does not, because my dad doesn't like spicy things. So she only makes #bland life. Now, when my husband came into the picture, he likes spicy stuff. So my mom loves him because she gets, if we go out to eat or if they come to the house, we make #bland boring food for my dad. And then we make everything as seasoned and spicy, and our daughter likes spicy things.
Nice.
So she eats everything spicy. So mom likes that she can eat spicy stuff with Jim.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes parents do that to where like they get the in-law, and then all of a sudden they like do other things that they weren't doing. Like my dad's from Iran, like right, and like there's Persian New Year's, which is it takes place whenever the first day of spring. That's when it is.
Okay.
And we never celebrated that growing up. Like never did it or anything. Never. And as soon as my wife and I got married, now we celebrate it every year. Like we make this huge thing about it.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's really fun. Like I wish we would have done it growing up because then it would be like, cooler to do it now. But it is interesting. Like it's like, okay, we have a new person in the family. Like we're gonna do that. Like we're gonna start this tradition.
But the memories that you have with your kids, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fun to do it with the kids for sure.
What's your favorite dish? Do they have a specific dish that you like?
My dad makes really good kebab.
Okay.
And then he makes a certain rice that has these berries in it. I don't know what it's called, but so that's really good. He makes a salad that is I don't eat it with cucumbers 'cause I don't like cucumbers, but it's like
Good to know.
Yeah,
Good to know.
it's cucumbers, it's avocado, it's onion, tomatoes,
very
and then,
fresh.
Yeah,
that's good.
So and then a lot of Persian meals will always have this thing called tarik.
Okay.
And basically what it is, it's like the fried part at the bottom of rice. So when your rice is cooked, there'll be like a layer underneath it that kind of like sticks to the pan. My dad eats
that. He calls it something else. I forgot, but yeah.
And then so my dad will put like a piece of pita bread underneath it, so it's a little bit fluffier.
Yeah.
And so
carb up.
I used to hate Persian food. Now I like it a lot. So growing up, I was like, yeah, this is gross. But now it's like legit.
That's awesome.
So okay, you grow up. Were you funny growing up? Did you always know you were funny?
Yeah, I pretty much. Yeah.
Were you like class clowning? Were you like class clowning it up?
But I had competition because I didn't get class clown. Like I was like
either.
I was like a shy, funny person. Like I got along with all my teachers. I got along with all the students. I wasn't a good student in terms of like I didn't do well in school, so I was always behind and I was always trying to I think it's because I was always daydreaming and my mind wandered during class, so I was a nuisance in terms. Teachers were like, "You're so nice and you're funny and likable, but why are you not getting this?" And I got tested a couple times. Like my mom and dad went and got me tested, and they're like, there was this one test they had, and I started laughing, and they were like, "Do you not understand the question?" I was like, "Why am I here? Are you serious right now?" And I mean, not to disrespect other people that get tested, but at the time, I was very naive on what this testing was, and so. They had blocks in front of me, and they had a chart with different colored blocks, and so they wanted me to put the squares with the colors and the triangles, and I had to make like a building. And I looked at it, and I think I looked at it for like 5 minutes, and the lady came in, and she goes, "Are we having trouble over here, Dani?" And I was like, "No, I just don't understand why is this my test? Like, you want me to do this?" And she goes, "Yeah, I want you to build the blocks." And I was like, "Well, I can do that. Can you have something harder?" And she goes, "No, I need you to do the block. Just focus on the task." And I was like, "Okay." So I did it, and then I was just bored. So she came in, and she checked it, and she goes, "Okay, I want you to do another task." And it was like a puzzle. And I was like, this is really freaking me out. And so my mom she goes, "Were you scared?" I was like, "Yeah, I don't think I'm supposed to be here." And she goes, "Well, I want you to know if you don't apply yourself in school, then you're going to end up here because they think that something's going on with you and you need to focus in class." I was like, I don't know what's going on. I can't focus.
Well, how old were you when you were doing this block building thing?
I don't remember. I think it was like
high school?
6th grade, 7th grade. But it really freaked me out because I didn't understand what was going on. No, it just kind of was like, we need to get her tested. And then I get back in class and I was very sleepy, very tired. Mm-hmm. But again, I was class clown. Yeah. I did Sound of Music.
Okay.
I loved theater.
How much theater did you do?
Oh my God, too much. Like I was like showing up in costume and I'd paint my face. Halloween was the whole month was Halloween in our house. So it was my mom always dressed me up. She always let me play. Dad was always like, be silly. Around that time, it was like the Michael Jackson MTV era. So we were watching like Thriller came out. And then I think the USA...
Well, I don't think Thriller came out. You're not that old. Thriller came out like in the 85.
Yeah,
but you were watching it.
I was watching it.
I don't want people thinking you're like 50.
No, I was watching it on... I think MTV aired like the anniversary of Michael Jackson. Yeah, I was born in 88. So, So when mom and dad... I remember I snuck out of my room. I was really young. I snuck out of my room and I was crouching behind the couch. And they wouldn't let me watch, all of the anniversary of Michael
Yeah.
Jackson. So when MTV had all the music videos, I was just like glued to all the makeup and Thriller and like all the costume design. And I grew up watching Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure. So hearing all those, like, I can't do it right now, but just like every time I see the part where, and I'm sad that he just passed away, but every time where he's like, I don't know if you guys remember Pee Wee Herman, but where he's like knocking on the door and he's got that thing that's just knocking and knocking. He goes, "It's me again." And I just like love those moments of him just popping in and out of character and having those big moments. And then, just growing up, like I was always making people laugh. And me and my brothers got in so much trouble. They were always pranking me, which goes back to my bathroom story. Sorry. They would walk. They knew I was going number 2, and they would be like, "Dani, what are you doing in there?" I'm like, "I'm going number 2," and they'd barge in with these grenade water balloons, and they'd throw them at me while I'm on the toilet. And it's like, that's so sad, but like they weren't bullying me, but they were like trying to toughen me up. And so they would always prank me or always do something. Like we have this thing where I'm sorry, I'm talking really loud. We had this thing where
Talk as loud as you want.
I'm sorry. I think I'm yelling right now. But we had this thing where we'd be in the kitchen and we have a rule where you don't leave your sandwich unattended.
Yeah,
it's
that's
free
a brother
game.
thing. Yep.
It's a free game. So anytime they would make a sandwich, they would go in the pantry and get chips. Well, I would already have chips out, and we would like make tombstones with Fritos, and then we'd punch our fist in the sandwich and make like a huge mess. And then I'd make like a little stick figure, and they'd come back and be like, "Oh my God, Dani, I can't eat this now." And Dad would come in and be like, "Do you know how much money? I put food on this table. You're going to eat that sandwich." And so he'd get mad because we'd all mess with each other's food. And Thanksgiving, we got in so much trouble because we'd just mess. Peter hated cranberries. And so I would like Sloppy Joe's. Just put all these cranberries on his plate. And then Merle didn't like green beans. So I'd like put green beans in his mashed potatoes. And Mom and Dad would be like, you don't waste food in the house. You got to eat it. And then they'd mess with my food. Like, my food was everywhere. They mess with it all the time. So, yeah, I got pranked a lot. So I like hanging out with the guys. I've always been like the little sister of every group, or, guys like it when I have quick comebacks. Not that girls don't, but there's a different, like, I wish I had sisters. I didn't have that growing up. And then I played video games with my brothers. That was our way of bonding.
Yeah.
There were times where I would steal powdered sugar donuts and like juice, and I put them in my room, and they'd have to sit at my little table and have breakfast. They'd be like, "Mom, Dani took all the donuts." They're like, "If you want to eat breakfast, you go in her room and sit with her stuffed animals." And I would force my brothers to come. I'd be like,
Have like a little tea party with you and the stuffed animals, right?
Welcome to my cafe. Won't you sit? And there'd be a bear, and Peter would be like, "Can I have another?" "I'm sorry, that's not on the menu. Would you like powdered sugar donuts?" And he'd be like, "Yes, I'd want another one. Can you give me more than one?" And I'd be like, "Sorry, let me ask the chef." And I'd just like pretend play, and I'd feed them in my room.
And they'd want to fight you from that.
And then my brother would like smash my donut. So
You're just doing bits.
Bits all the time.
Non-stop bits.
Nonstop.
When did you decide, okay, so you did theater.
Mm-hmm.
How long did you do theater for?
I've done theater on and off since 6th grade.
Okay.
So it's
favorite play you've ever been in? I have a theater degree, so.
Oh, you do?
I
I'm
do,
sorry,
yeah.
I did not
okay.
know that.
That's all right.
I am fast. I'm not to your.
No. I just want to know.
Caliber.
I'm not. There's no caliber. I haven't done
Okay.
a play since like 2008. So.
Vagina monologues.
That's your favorite
so far,
play?
So far that I've done.
Okay. Did you do that here locally?
I did it locally in Plano, and then we ended up finishing the run of the shows at Dallas Comedy Club.
Why did y'all have to? Is there a story that you can't tell?
No, I can tell it.
Okay, tell it to me. What happened? Why did you have to go from Plano? Did people get upset in Plano about vagina monologues?
No. So we had there was a disagreement in terms of things that the cast wanted to feel, I guess, safe and comfortable within the building. And then things kind of escalated to a place of, well, we've met all your needs, so we can't do anything else. And so there was just a big disagreement in terms of what the cast wanted versus what the owner of the building wanted. And so we were told that we needed to exit the building and that they were going to call the cops if we didn't leave. Shit. And it got really bad. So we were told that all the shows would be canceled and that we couldn't continue. So we said, okay, we have all these people that need to get refunded their money. And so that was a long process. And then we ended up posting on social media during that time, and we said, sadly, we had a disagreement, and we were told that we couldn't continue our shows. After we posted that, we found a new venue, and a lot of venues, we were so thankful of the support within our community. And then Dallas Comedy Club, Rosie Carruth, opened up her doors to us and said, we want you to finish out your shows, because we wanted to end on a high note. I mean, theater, you put so much time.
Yeah, it's a lot of work into it. It's, weeks and weeks of rehearsal. Yeah. It's many nights of doing it. And
Tech Week, I mean, we put all of that, and it was like 12 of us, because we had understudies for different nights and different days, because not everyone could do.
How long was the run?
I want to say 4 weekends.
Okay.
And we had, there were shows that were sold out and that we couldn't perform there anymore. So we ended up taking our show somewhere else so that we could end on a high note. And the director, Bridget Tooley, amazing director, she directed the shit out of that performance, and she made us all better, and she took things, she allowed me to be a better performer, and she helped mold me into the best possible version of the character that she.
Who did you play in it?
So I was Angry Vagina.
Okay.
And I was also, which is funny to say out loud, I was Angry Vagina, and then I was a 6-year-old kid. So I played 2 characters.
Yeah.
So I had 2. But to be fair, my second character, not a lot of lines, so it wasn't that hard. It was just a funny story about that. Do we have time for me to tell
go ahead. Tell your stories.
So I had overalls as a 6-year-old, and I had my hair in pigtails. But as Angry Vagina, I had a leather jacket, leather tights, and I had red lipstick, and my hair was down. So after the show, when people come up and they talk to you and they want to get to know you and take pictures, this really, really sweet old lady, maybe pushing 90, she comes up to me and she goes, "Excuse me, I would love to talk to the girl who played the 6-year-old. Is she there?" And I said, "Yeah, that's me." And she goes, "Oh, no, that's not you. You're the filthy one. You said vagina motherfuckers. I don't want to talk to you." And I said, I was kind of taken back. I said, "Ma'am, I understand you're confused. I played both characters." She goes, "Oh, no, don't lie to an old woman. You're so funny. I'd like to see the 6-year-old girl." So I told my cast, I was like, what do I do? Because she won't leave. She was just, "Have you seen the 6-year-old girl that played that character?" And everyone's like, "Dani, put your hair in pigtails really quick." So I put my hair back in pigtails. I took off my red lipstick, and I came back out. And I said, "Hi, I understand you're looking for me." She goes, "Oh, you were my favorite 6-year-old little girl." So she couldn't differentiate between.
Then you did a great job then. You crushed.
I crushed it, and it was so cool. But she was so mad at me. She goes, "I don't like." She was gossiping to me about me. So she goes, "You were my favorite, but that Angry Vagina, I did not like that girl. She was vulgar, and you were the star of the show." And I said, "Thank you so much. I am also Angry Vagina." She goes, "Are you both in on this joke? Because I don't find it funny." And it was just,
She's been like, "I hate Angry Vagina too."
Yeah, no, but what's crazy is that she saw Angry Vagina. She saw Vagina Monologues when it came out. She saw it in New York.
Uh-huh.
So, and she said that this version was better than the one in
Nice.
New York. Now, I don't know if she was
all there,
but
hey,
I
we'll
mean,
take
that
it.
was
We'll take
the
it.
best thing ever.
Yeah.
So I was really, really happy that we were able to end it on a good note.
The Angry Vagina monologue was a very popular monologue growing up. I think that was like if you were like edgy and you wanted to do an audition piece, like girls would always like, oh, I'm doing angry vagina, or whatever. That was like, I'm gonna stick it to the man. I'm gonna do that. That was a very popular monologue that a lot of girls did.
Yeah.
And then we did that show. My college did that show.
Sweet.
It was like a student produced show. It wasn't like one of the main stage shows. It was really good.
What was your favorite, or what was your favorite performance?
I did a show my freshman year of college called Philadelphia, Here I Come.
Oh, wow.
It's an Irish play.
Oh.
And I played the main character. It's about this guy that's deciding he's going to move from Ireland to Philadelphia. That's why it's called Philadelphia, Here I Come. And it's about his like last night in Ireland.
Okay.
And so it's like these like flashbacks and stuff. Like he doesn't know who his real father is. Like there's like one guy that like raised him, but he's not 100% sure that that's his dad or not. And then so like the way that the playwright wrote it is that there was a public character of him and then there was the private character, and that was like all of his inside thoughts.
Yeah.
So I played the public that everyone could see, and then there was another actor that plays the like my character's private thoughts.
Okay.
So a lot of the show was me and the private character like talking to each other.
Okay.
So that was like one of my favorite characters. It was like real drama. I had like cry like 7 times in it. And so that was like a very interesting 6 weeks of rehearsal process, because I would there were days where I would just have to like be like completely broken down for like 2-3 hours. So I would get out of that rehearsal space. I was in I didn't leave the stage. Like I was like I don't think I wasn't in the first scene, and then from after the first scene I was on it the entire. I didn't leave after that. So the rehearsal process of that, I would have to cry, like go to these like dark places to like get to the point to where like if you're not familiar with like hopefully they've gotten better in acting, but like a very popular technique is called Meisner technique. And what it is, it's like called like emotional recall. So in rehearsal processes, your director will bring you to a place where you've had tragedy in your life, and they'll bring that out of you. They're like, okay, now go into your scene, right? So it's like you're training your brain to, by the time you're actually doing the shows, it's like Pavlov's dog, right? Like it's like muscle memory. Like when you hear that, when you do those lines, you've done it so many times, now you can cry, right? And so you go to these like dark places where like break you down.
Yeah.
So for like 5-6 weeks, I'm crying on stage and like going to these like whatever. So that was a really good show, like a really different type of character. I usually play like the funny guy or like whatever, right? And so to like play that role, that's probably like my favorite.
Emotionally.
Character. Yeah, it was a different thing than I had done. It like stretched me. Yeah, it was terrible. I was like depressed for like 5 weeks. I like I was like emotional wreck.
Yeah.
Just like would go to my dorm room and just sit in the dark. For like, so I can like see like Heath Ledger, like how he like killed himself during playing that one playing the Joker because of that. Like I could see how that happens.
He did such a great job. That was such a great job.
Because you're in rehearsals and you're doing all these things, and it's like
Yeah, in Vagina Monologues, we had certain monologues that were talking about some very dark, talking about rape and talking about, losing a child and birthing a child. And there were times where some of the characters had to dig deep, and they were experiencing their own trauma and own things, and things would kind of pop up. So for them to go from crying to a scene where we're all together and laughing and then crying, and then I had so much respect. I think that's why Vagina Monologues was such a huge impact on my life as a performer, because I respect my cast so much more, because we're some actors, some comedians, some improvisational people, but everyone had such grit and like so much grace, not because they're female, but it was kind of an honor to share the stage with them because they were so talented. And I was like, holy crap.
How did the one male character feel? And there's like the one male character.
Yeah.
What was it like for him being in that cast?
So we actually didn't have
It's like the boyfriend, right?
Yeah, it's a boyfriend, but we had a female do it. And so she had like a mustache, and they actually switched places, and it was so funny. Like, it was probably the funniest scene because they were acting it out together, and it was hilarious. So I wish you would have seen it, but we're actually thinking of doing it again.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, we're thinking about doing it again next year, but we want a bigger stage.
Cool. So let's segue this into your big show that you have coming up.
Yeah, I'm pretty nervous, but I'm excited.
So talk about it. Dani is doing a one-woman show. What's it called? What is it called?
It's called Laugh After Death.
Okay. Talk to me about it, like how you came up with the idea that you wanted to do it. Talk to me about the process of writing it. I want to go like nerd deep into like I have a lot of questions. So
I have a lot of answers.
All right, go into so what came up with the idea of like wanting to do it and everything like that?
Yeah, so Jono Rodriguez, they have their own podcast with Conrad. I worked on a show. They booked me to do a character bit on their show, and so I was at Dallas Comedy Club. And they had seen me do Andy Kaufman. And so I did Andy Kaufman at various different clubs. And I ended up doing Andy Kaufman at the Fringe Festival in Edinburgh, Scotland last year in August. And Jono has seen me do so many different characters. Like, I do the Grinch, I do Andy Kaufman, I do like an Ecuadorian love expert, I do a very old Yiddish woman, I do various different characters on stage where I kind of am like tarot card reader, and then there's sometimes where I'm like a camp director, like I just love doing characters and popping in and out of different characters. So Jono saw me perform, and I was talking to different comics and different an improv troupe was out there too, and they were great. We saw them after our show. And Jono said, "Hey, I was wondering, like, have you thought about a one-woman show?" And I was like, "I don't know what that is. Like, what's a one-woman show? Like, that seems kind of pretentious." And he was like, "No, I think you could do it. You have all these characters. Like, how many characters do you have?" And I was like, "I have characters for days. I would love to do that." So he said, "Do some research. I think you should do it, and I believe in you." And I was like, I just did the Fringe. I kind of think I need to, like, learn a lot more about the business because even though I've been doing comedy for like 9 years now, and I count the pandemic because I did comedy during the pandemic. A lot of people, I performed in Arkansas and Oklahoma, so I was still doing shows out there during the pandemic. Probably shouldn't have, but I did it because I was going to go insane. So I still performed during the pandemic, and so I say 9 years, and I've done improv, I've done sketch comedy, and I've done creative writing. I say that so many times. And then I've always loved stand-up. So I went home. I watched John Leguizamo.
That's what I was going to ask you to watch. Freak?
Oh, my gosh. Whoopi Goldberg did a one-woman show.
Which John Leguizamo did you watch? Did you watch Freak?
Sexaholic?
Sexaholic?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you seen Freak?
No, but I can watch it. Give me a list.
Watch Freak.
Okay.
I think it's better than Sexaholic.
Okay.
I think that's his first one.
Okay.
But I don't know which order they're in, but that one's really good.
Well, that one like really sparked and like, got me, and I feel dumb and like I need to study more because I need to know more about the community and about other comics and I had no idea that he did a one-person show or a one-man show. So when I watched that, I was like, I want to do that. I would love to do that. So I had a connection with Kalita Humphreys Theater. I took a tour of the building, and I fell in love. The Kalita Humphreys Theater was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright, and it's the only theater of its kind, and it's in Dallas, Texas, off of Turtle Creek, and it's absolutely breathtaking, magical, outstanding, historical landmark. And as soon as you walk in, everything's plush red, beautiful. The ceiling, everything's the same. And you walk in, and it's just, how could you not fall in love with it? And I said, like, as soon as I saw, like, I touched the seats, and I, like, ran my hands down the railing, and I said, oh my God, I'm going to put on a one-woman show here. And I asked if I could get on stage. They said absolutely. As soon as I put on stage, Jono went up and he turned on all the house lights, and I just started crying. And I was like, I'm gonna do a one-woman show here. And that was like, I made up my mind that instant. And we looked at dates, and it was like we had to book it like 6 months, 7 months in advance. I think they have, correct me if I say this wrong, Rocky Horror Show.
Yeah, Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
They're probably doing that right now.
They're doing that right now.
Yeah.
And so that's running. And then it's going to be, they have their Christmas, I don't think it's Scrooge. I forgot what the next show before mine is, and then after mine. But I just, financially, I can't afford to do like 4 weekends. And so I'm doing one weekend. I'm doing a rehearsal Friday with tech, and I have a sound and light, like one of the best sound and light tech designers is what they call them, which I learned that recently. I'm learning so much about the theater world. I wish I would have. Maybe I can go back.
You don't.
No, but there's so much that I don't know, and I
mean, take a class, but don't. I mean, majoring. I can go on a whole nother. A whole podcast on that of talking about.
I can't wait to take your class.
Yes.
But I met a great designer through. I was doing a photography for an award show for Dallas Theater, and then I met. It's so crazy how you network as a comic. I've just been networking like crazy. So Lauren Davis is my director of my show, and she's most known for all of her work and her studying at Dallas Comedy House. And she is now a teacher at Stomping Ground Comedy Theater Training Center. So she got in connection with me through Lindsay Goldap, who's the owner of Stomping Ground. And then they connected me and Lauren is my director. And so she's helping me, she's helped me in this last, 6 months with my writing process. And it's been, Kaylee from Vagina Monologues came up with the idea. I had a writing workshop class at my house, and it got around the circle. It got to my turn. I was like, I need help with figuring out a name for my show, and I suck at puns. I'm not good at puns. And Kaylee was like, what about Laugh After Death? And I was like, that's really, really brilliant. I love that. And so Laugh After Death came out with just sitting with a bunch of comics and going back and forth with ideas. So Kaylee came up with the name of my show. Lauren has helped me in the process of writing everything. So Laugh After Death is a combination of me being around death a lot when I was younger, and being in nursing homes at such a young age. And then in my 20s, for 8 years, I worked with Alzheimer's and dementia residents. Okay. And when you're in your 20s and you are going to funerals and you're around, your time slows down, and the way you talk to people slows down. And not to say that old people are slow, but it's not as... with cell phones and technology and social media, things are much faster outside. So their time is kind of slowing down. And a lot of people went on hospice. So my show is basically me popping in and out of characters throughout my life that have had a huge impact on me. And I'm going to be talking about, why you can laugh at it, because there were times where you see things and you're like, maybe I shouldn't be in this environment at my age, because I had a lot of black in my wardrobe. And anytime I go on a date, because it's like, what do you talk about on a date? You're like, what do you do? Oh, I call bingo. Like there wasn't, and you do more than bingo as an activities director, but there were just times where, I took all the residents to Hooters, and that was one of the most... Are you talking about that in your show? I am. I talk about it on stage right now. So it's I have a couple bits about it, and it's like I have photos of, and in my show I'm going to attempt to sing a song. Bernadette Peters did a one-woman show there back in 1987. So I'll be the second female to do a one-woman show So I'm trying to get her to come to watch me perform, which there's no
That'd be
way.
cool.
I'm pretty sure she's on tour right now. Hi, Bernadette Peters.
Bernadette Peters, I know you're a big listener of this, of the Back in the Day podcast, so make sure you're there.
Yeah.
What's the rehearsal process been like? So are you in rehearsals right now? Have you started
Yeah.
rehearsals?
Yeah, so Lauren and I meet and we go over. Right now I'm having, which you actually helped. I didn't realize you were going to talk about this. Did you say Meisner?
Yes.
Okay. That's helpful because we're talking about that right now. I'm trying really hard not to cry on stage because a lot of the stuff, which I didn't realize, when you're writing, I'm writing so much about the past because of my age. I didn't have time to grieve. So in bringing up all of these chapters in my life, I'm crying a lot. And my husband's like, "Are you okay? What's going on?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, I haven't talked about this stuff. So it's like very emotional for me. So I'm like, Lauren, I just don't want to get up there and have like, how you have your set design? I'm going to have like a box of tissue because I don't want to like break character and start crying. Because we did a couple rehearsals where I would be, reading my script and I would just pause and I'd be like, "I'm so sorry. Hold on." And I'd just start crying. And I'd be like, "I don't know where this is coming from." And she's like, "Take it in. Take this moment. If you cry on stage, it's okay. Just, you need to process your emotions and your feelings." Because there are times where I talk about people that made a huge impact on my life. And I want to make sure that I share that with everyone. It's hilarious. It's not all about death. It's not all dark and ominous. Because my parents were like, the holidays are like right around the corner. My brothers were like, why is it laugh after death? Are you making everybody cry? Because I'm not coming if you're going to Peter was like, "Are you going to have food there?" Like they're like worried
Bring
about
some
the
pizza rolls.
Do you have some snack boxes? But it's just it's how I got started in comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to talk about it's like almost like a biography of my life. And it's going to be breathtaking and beautiful. I'm really proud of it. It's going to be recorded. So I'm going to have some, I don't know if you call it a comedy special. I don't know if I call it that. I'll do stand-up and I'll do,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, John Leguizamo's a stand-up. I mean, his
Okay.
show, his one-man show is, I don't know what you call it. It's just a one-man
Yeah.
show,
Yeah, and so
And
it's
funny, it's touching, it's,
Yeah.
So, well, cool.
I'm really excited.
Well,
and yeah.
We'll plug the dates at the end of the podcast so
That's
that we
cool.
can make sure all the millions of people that are going to watch this episode
Yes.
come to your show. All right.
Yes.
So the show is called Back in the Day podcast, right? So I focus on each season. I focus on a different topic that I ask all my guests about. This year, I'm focusing on stories about when you got in trouble in the past. So
Okay.
do you have a story about the time you got in trouble the worst at home?
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Okay. So like at home, like in Plano, or at home, like at my house?
At your parents.
At my parents' house. Okay.
Or, if your husband grounds you, that's fine too.
Well, that got weird. No, I meant like at the school. Absolutely. But yeah, my house when I got in trouble. I called 911 and my brothers dared me to call 911.
Of course they did.
And I picked up the old time phone with the cord. And my dad was taking a shower. My mom was smoking a cigarette outside. And my brothers were like, "Just do it. Just call 911." I'm like, "What's going to happen?" They're like, "Just do it."
How old were you? Do you remember?
Don't remember. 4th grade, maybe 3rd. So I just remember being young because I had my ponytails to the side and I just cut my bangs with scissors.
Ooh, you cut them yourself?
Yeah.
Oh,
So I got in trouble. I cut all my Barbie's hair off, and then my mom was like, "Don't do that." So I took off their heads, and then I cut my hair. I was a rebel. So then I cut my hair, and then what's crazy is I was a trendsetter, so
Yeah.
all the girls at school cut their hair, and then I got in trouble at school
and then,
because
like,
everybody...
their
it was
parents
like-
are mad. They're calling
Yeah.
your parents like, "I can't believe Danny made my daughter cut her hair."
It was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad. And, like, it caught on. And so I was a trendsetter at school, not a big deal. And then, so I called 911, And I remember just seeing flashing lights. And I was like,
Oh, they came. They came to the
I
house.
was like, it's Christmas. Oh my gosh, this is so good.
So did you talk on 911 or you just call and
They
hang
were like,
up?
911, what's your emergency? And I was just like, hi. And they're like, what's the are you okay? How old are you? And I was just like, I don't know how old I was.
Or whatever.
I was like, how's your day going? And like, I was just having a conversation. She goes, are you home alone? I was like, I don't think so. And like, I just remember she was so concerned. And she goes, can I talk to your mom? And I was like, no, she's not here. And like, she was clearly outside smoking a cigarette. She's like, is your dad home? Do you have a grandma or grandpa? And I was just like, no one's here. Like, I don't know.
Lying to
And
this
then
operator.
I just left it on the table. So it was just there.
yeah.
And then they heard yelling. Because I remember my dad was like, what are you doing on the phone? And so they really, and then I saw the lights. And then my brothers were like, oh, shit. And then they got in trouble for cussing. So it was really bad. And then, so I remember I was sitting on the floor crying. And we had a glass door and we had a wood door. And I remember the fire truck, the ambulance, and the police were there. And so they opened up the door and they were like, your child called us. We're very concerned. What's going on? And I'm like crying on the floor. And they're like, what's happening? And I'm just like,
Did they like?
They came in and
They questioned your parents and stuff. Of course they did. They probably
yeah.
separated them in different rooms.
And Merle and Peter were crying, and they were trying to calm us down. Because, I mean, now that I'm a parent, I could totally understand.
Oh, 100%.
Like, that's very scary. And, like, you got to explain yourself, and you have to stay calm, and you can't yell, and, you know, the cops are here, and you gotta remain calm. So the firefighters were like, is there a fire? Did you call? And so they explained to me, you know, you don't call 911. I was like, all right. Merle and Peter told me to call, so I totally snitched.
Man, that's just that's the theme. You're just snitching on everyone.
Terrible. But I believe that you should be honest and you should speak your truth because the truth always comes out.
Uh-huh.
And I told my brothers, I was like, hey, why did you tell me to call 911? And they were like, yeah, we definitely. So their PS2 or their Sega got taken away.
Did anything happen to you?
Well, I'm the baby and I'm the girl, so the correct answer is no, because I got away with a lot of stuff that I probably shouldn't have, if I'm being totally honest. But I remember my dad yelled at me, and he was pretty upset, but I didn't get spanked, and Mom was more worried that the brothers put me up to it. And then I remember going in the garage, and I climbed into the van, and my dad, they were all looking for me, so they were going to call 911
again.
They lost me and they couldn't find me. So I went and hid in the van, and Merle came out and he was like, Danny, it's okay. And I was like, I'm just going to sleep in the van. Just leave me alone. I remember I was so mad because I fell asleep in the van and everyone wanted me to come out. And I told Dad, like, had to pick me up. And I was like, why can't I just stay in the car? It's fine. Like, I don't need my room. I don't need my stuffed animal. I punished myself.
Yeah.
So
I like how your story of the worst time you got in trouble at home was your brothers getting their PlayStation taken away.
I was a really good kid. Like, I was a really good kid, and I'm trying to think, like,
what about at school?
I broke our neighbor's window.
Okay.
I was playing soccer in the front yard, and I miskicked it. And I remember it went through our neighbor's window.
You guys have to pay for the window or something?
I felt terrible. Well, we had to rake his leaves in the front and the backyard.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Mr. Clark.
Shout out Mr. Clark.
Yeah, well, he passed away. I was sad.
R.I.P.
Okay.
Mr. Clark.
Yeah.
What about worst time you got in trouble at school? Do you remember?
Yeah. So my
Besides
mom
snitching on old girl.
Oh, Sabrina. Yeah, that was 5th grade.
Yeah.
6th grade, I had braces and a retainer, and I lost my retainer in the cafeteria. My mom told me, you know, don't lose your retainer. You're gonna go dumpster diving, and I accidentally threw away my retainer.
That was a big thing. I feel like that happened at my middle school once every couple of weeks, that they were like looking through all the big, those big industrial trash cans that they rolled around.
Yeah.
That there was always like some kid diving in there through the nasty ass food and the corn and stuff looking for their retainer.
That was me. My mom put me in the dumpster. And I remember the principal came out, and today, if you did that, Child Protective Services, the police would get involved. Like, you can't stick a kid in a dumpster.
No, you can't.
That's terrible. So I remember the principal came out and he goes, "Is that Danny in there?" And my mom was like, "Yes." And he goes, "You guys have a great evening." And he just
And just
walked to his
left?
car. Yeah. And then he had his little briefcase. He was just like, "You guys have a great night." And then he just left. The cop came out. That was like the patrol cop. He came out and he goes, "See you tomorrow, Danny. Hope you find that retainer." And it was like a joke or something. He goes, "You guys have a great night and take care." And they were laughing when they were walking to their car. And then the football team saw me. And I remember that was
Humiliating.
I was just humiliated. And
Did you find the retainer?
I did find the retainer. It was red with
Ugh.
like sparkles. It had glitter on it. But that was just, I think I lost it one other time. It fell out of my pocket. I don't know. I don't remember where it was. But it fell out of my pocket and it was in this big, thick, like lush grass.
Uh-huh.
And my mom went inside the restaurant and she had everyone come out and turn on their car lights. So all the parents had to come out and turn their lights on. And I'm crying in the grass, just like looking for it. And Merle and Peter are just laughing at me.
The retainer back then must have cost like $5,000 or something, because the way
Yeah.
people looked for those retainers, like they were going to give up a lot
Yeah.
before they
Well, I
did
think-
not look for that
I
retainer.
think they were teaching me a lesson about
No, but you're not the only kid, though.
responsibility.
I mean, I remember
Yeah.
that being a huge deal in school. Like, you don't remember, like, I'm sure there's other kids that would lose their retainer, and I mean,
Yeah.
it was like a search party going on for
Yeah.
those retainers.
Everybody looked for it. But now they have Visalign.
Yeah.
So no one needs braces anymore. They have Visalign.
Well, my daughter got a retainer, and they told her,
Oh.
like, they're like, if you lose it, no big deal. It's like you don't worry about replacing it. And I was like, what? Because like I remember kids, like you said, dumpster diving for those bad
Yeah.
boys.
See, like back in the day, we had it hard. I may not have walked uphill in the snow,
But I was diving in
but I
dumpsters
was
for my
diving
retainer.
in dumpsters. So when I see shows when they have like dumpster divers, I like have some PTSD. I'm like, I think about it. It's like sometimes, when you come out of comedy clubs, like sometimes you go out the back door, and I'll have to walk by the dumpster, the big dumpster, and I'm like, oh my god,
All right, that was me
that was me.
getting that retainer.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Retainer.
Well, Danny, this was a lot of fun. I appreciate you
you.
coming on. Where can people find you? Plug your stuff, plug your dates for your one-woman show, all that good stuff.
Yes, they can find me on Instagram at comedian Dani Bee, and my one-woman show is Laugh After Death, and it'll be at the Kalita Humphreys Theater in Dallas, Texas, December 16th and 17th. If you go on my Instagram, you can find the link in my bio for the tickets, and I hope to see you guys there. It's going to be a really fun show.
Yes, absolutely, guys. Make sure you follow Dani on Instagram. Check out her show December 16th and 17th. Buy all the tickets. Follow her. Of course, check me out on michaelpasvar.com for show dates. Like and subscribe to this podcast. Give it a good rating as well. We'll see you next time. Bye now.